Welcome, everyone, and good evening. Thanks for coming. Please make sure that you're on mute. I'll try to make this brief, and I'll be taking questions at the end. Tonight, we're going to be discussing case 3-4, Franklin Industries whistleblowing. The main protagonist in this case is Natalie Garson, CPA, who finds embezzlement, reports it, and is demoted for it. And we'll get into the details in just a minute. The main values that we're going to stress and to emphasize are those of fairness and justice. Several others come into play, but fairness and justice are what we want to talk about tonight. And specifically those of Natalie Garson, as most of our discussion is going to be hinging around her choices that she has to make at this critical juncture. So, to dive back into the details a little bit, she finds kind of a classic embezzlement scheme. The AP manager is paying out to a company in his sibling's name, and the money is being transferred back to an account in his name. It's not complex. Classic embezzlement. It's about $5 million. And so she enlists the help of the internal auditors at Franklin to get more details on this, is validated in her concerns in that this is a real issue, and so she takes it to the controller of the company, who promptly demotes her for her efforts. So then she once again reports it to human resources, to HR. They, after 6 months of deliberation, deny that she was retaliated against on the grounds that there was no embezzlement in the first place. So Ms. Garson finds herself in this difficult situation where she must choose now what she's going to do. And it's really interesting, as I said, in the cases of fairness and justice. I picked this case because of all of the ones of the given options. We find ourselves this case, which I feel is most easily rationalized, meaning either choice is morally justifiable. Now, the reason that I say that is that she essentially has two options. The first option is to walk away, go find a different job. It would certainly be easier than pursuing legal action against the company, reporting to the SEC, to Frank Dobbs, and all the rest. It's easier. You can justify it by saying, like, she really did her part. She did everything that I think a reasonable person would do. She discussed it with internal audit. She brought it to her boss. When that didn't work, she discussed it with HR. And by all accounts, including a discussion with a friend, it's going to be brushed under the rug, and it's just a matter of how far she pushes it with the company and the consequences that she faces. And so walking away is, I think, an attractive option because it is easiest, because she's done her part, because she's faced opposition over and over, and because the company is essentially hurting themselves by ignoring it. And so it's simple and it's easy to walk away. I think she's morally justified in doing that because she's already paying the price for another person's actions, which isn't fair. However, in order to find justice, in order to get vindication for the wrongs that she's felt, and in order to find justice for the shareholders, which she shares in the responsibility of presenting the financial information for, and which this company represents, their investment, she would have to take further action with the SEC, with Frank Dobbs, and any other regulatory bodies. Now, obviously, this is morally justifiable. Many would say that this is the right thing to do. It's certainly the nobler thing to do. It's obviously also the more difficult thing to do. It means a lengthy litigation process, legal demands, also just the social aspect of it. She almost certainly loses her job. She loses her friends, her coworkers, and the same shareholders that she hopes to protect are actually going to pay a price as well. And so it's interesting that the price of doing the right thing is high. And it's not high because of anything that she has done, and yet in order to find justice, she would have to take this action. And so that's why I like the dichotomy of fairness. It's probably more fair for her personally to walk away, and yet in order to find justice, she must pursue action with the SEC and with Frank Dobbs. This is why it's so interesting. As to say what I would do, it's impossible to say in this situation. However, I think she's morally justified in each. I think there's ethical arguments to be made for each, and that she is right no matter what she does. And she unfortunately has to choose between two core values, which is what makes it such an interesting case. Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Let me know if you have any questions.